All right.
I'm ready too.
Welcome, everyone, to Queer the Vax live conversation. Today, we'll have a discussion on health and the COVID vaccine. I'm your host, Timeless Takes. I'm the Meeting Outreach Coordinator here at Youth Oasis. Youth Oasis is a housing organization for youth. I have a lot of support today, and it's from TransFamily Support Services all the way from San Diego, California, with the Chaplain, Alabama, providing us technical assistance. So thank you for the technical assistance. So why are we here today? What's the purpose of this conversation? Core the Vax is a social media campaign that promotes and educates the community on COVID vaccine. The campaign was launched by Centrelink, and it focused on how COVID vaccines is helpful in the many barriers that affects LGBTQ and queer communities and many people of color. So today, as y'all can see, I'm joined by these amazing health professionals, and we'll talk about the latest of COVID vaccine and hopefully some resources for the many viewers in our community. All right. So before we get started, I want to do a quick little check-in with everyone here. How y'all feeling? How's the day going? How we feeling?
We're feeling non-November-y, but
Okay.
good. Yeah.
No, remember, we need some warm weather. I missed the warm weather already. All right. How everybody else feeling? Are we good?
Good.
Good.
I'm
All right.
doing good
All
as well.
right.
Very well, thank you.
Yes. Welcome. So everyone, I want y'all to give y'all an introduction. Just introduce yourself so we learn a little bit about you and know about what you do. All right. So give your name, your pronouns, your title, name of location or organization, and a brief description of what you do. All right. Who wants to go first for introductions? And if you can't see that, it's also in the private chat, so y'all can see that as well. All right. So who wants to go first?
All right, I'll go first.
Go
My
ahead.
name is Benjamin Harris. My pronouns is he, him, and his. I'm a community health worker here, downtown Baton Rouge, next to Greyhound bus station. And I'm feeling great today and excited to learn whatever we're going to share with each other today and enlighten each other with education.
Yes. Welcome, Benjamin. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Moore, Community Health Worker, Region 2, a part of SHIP, pronouns she, her, and hers. I am the Black Women in Prep Ambassador for Region 2. And as a community health worker, we educate our community members, we navigate, link them through needed services, and we have a very holistic approach to the services that we offer free to our community members.
Thank you, Ms. Jennifer, for that. Thank you for all the work you do. Who's next?
Hey guys, good afternoon. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
I'm Irina Knight. I'm a CHW for Region 2. And basically what Jennifer said, that's what we do is we help people bridge that gap for care for those who are in need. And we do have a holistic approach for ending the HIV epidemic and also just giving people, comfortability and making sure they know that we are there for them.
Sounds great. Thank you, Ms. Irene. Thank you so much for that. All right. Claire, want to go next?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Ozerall. I am a pharmacist at Ochsner Medical Center and focus on the treatment of HIV, Hep C, and Hep B, along with PrEP. I have pronouns of she, her, hers, and I'm very excited to be here on this live stream.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Claire. Thank you. And Eric.
Yes, how y'all doing? My name is Dr. Eric Griggs. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I work for an organization called Access Health Louisiana. I'm the Health and Wellness Ambassador for the state of Louisiana, New Orleans. At Access Health Louisiana, we are a federally qualified health center, FQHC. We're the largest in the state, 36 clinics, 47,000 patients. And my other hat, I'm a health educator for the local Fox affiliate, about 1 million people a day, ever since March 13th, 2020. And this little thing called COVID entered our lives. I'm excited.
Well, I want to say thank you to all the health professionals with us. Are you ready to get started for the questions? We ready? All right.
Yes.
All right. So let's start with part 1, COVID vaccines 101. So what's some basic information we can give the public about vaccines, the purpose and how it helps? Anyone can answer.
I'd like to start with that. I want I think the whole since the COVID started and throughout the course of its existence and the existence of the vaccination, the messaging to the people still haven't been, I think, blunt. I felt that it should be blunt, more blunt, but education to the point where it's giving the community members a breakdown of actually what the vaccination purpose and what it accomplishes, and even for the message about, hey, what the vaccine consists of. So those three things are either those things led people to get the vaccine or deterred them to not want to get it because they were not educated and they didn't know nothing about it because of messaging. And the third one was not knowing what the vaccine, the existing ingredients, that whatever the thing, the concoction of it. So those three messages nationwide. I haven't heard where the message just was pinpoint to get through to the people who just was just objected to want to get the vaccine. My message when I'm here at the Baton Rouge Health Unit and when we're out with doing boots on the ground is to just get straight to the point. I tell them it's an immune system builder, and that kind of my message when I'm telling them, hey, it's just strengthening the immune system. It's point blank, but the messaging could be. I think could be distributed a little bit more better and in an educational, more in a more educational manner.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right, Benjamin. I think we need more information on the vaccine. We also like to break down, like you're saying, people don't know what's inside and how it helps. So that's why I'm so happy we're having this conversation. Like people need to know the details. All right. Anyone want to add to that? Anyone? All right.
No, I cannot say nothing. Yes, I want to add to that. I think Benjamin is spot on. And again, having been at the front of this and literally being boots on the ground, facing the camera, dude at the gas station, you name it, I've been there. I've been very frustrated I've been in media for the last, I've been a doctor for 25 years, been in media for the last 12, 15, I've been on TV for the last 8 or 9. The messaging has been very confusing. What happens is it seems that we got a lot of doctors and healthcare professionals that we go to school and we learn these big old words and they're this big. And then we turn around and we go to the community and we say these big words and everyone smiles like, yeah, they understand what we're talking about. When half the time, my grandmother said, if you can't explain it to an 8-year-old, you don't really know it. If you can't break it down, then do you really know it? So my job, I mean, I've made cartoons. I go on the local radio show, the oldest African-American radio station in New Orleans. I've been on that every week, sometimes every day, breaking it down. Basically, real quick, what it is, and Dr. Ozeral, Dr. Claire, can back me up on this. Basically, what happened is in January of 2020, they came out, they gave the genetic code for the virus. And like you've seen, if you can imagine, my fist is the virus and my fingers are the spikes, right? Mm-hmm. The spikes are what attach to the receptors in your body and they multiply. The programs it to make you sick, right? They found out the genetic code specifically for the spike. Can't get to you if it can't attach, right? So they found the code for the spike. And what they did was they took the code and they replicated in this little thing called mRNA. You keep hearing about mRNA viruses, the Pfizer and the Moderna are mRNA virus. mRNA is nothing more than a bad little kid, like going from the front room to the back room, telling mama what daddy wants to eat or to cook for dinner. Daddy want red beans and fried chicken. That's what he wants. And the kid runs back and forth, and then the kid goes off and does what he wants. Right? It's just a messenger, right? And it's harmless. So what happens is it takes the genetic code for that spike. They wrapped it. It's just genetic code, not the virus itself. And they wrapped it in some fat and some protein so it could go into the cells. They stick it into your arm, into the muscle cell, and then it goes in that takes that message because the fat and the protein are kind of like the key to get into the cell, the door. So the fat and the protein go in, they attach, they go to the kitchen or the oven, which is called the ribosome, where everything is made. It teaches the cell how to make the spike. And then, just like a bad little kid, the messenger RNA that came in there wrapped in swaddling clothes, wrapped in there, it goes off and is metabolized, and it's gotten rid of, right? Your body processes it, right? Nothing happens to it, it's harmless. It's processed out. Well, what happens though is in the ribosome or the kitchen, they teach the cells how to make those spikes, right? And once they teach the cells how to make the spikes, your own body starts making the spikes based on that code, right? And once you start making those spikes, your body, your immune system, that's Benjamin, that's where you said it strengthens your immune system. They learn how to fight. It's like football practice. You got the other team's plays. We got coronavirus plays. We got their quarterbacks plays. The quarterbacks plays, which is the spikes. We learn how to fight the spike. So once we actually encounter that virus or that other team, like on Sunday when the Saints were supposed to win, we can win. Does that make sense? So it's something harmless. We teach it how to run the coronavirus's plays on a place where it sticks in and it can actually get in. We teach it the code so our body learns how to fight. And then once it learns how to fight, and it takes 2 shots to really teach it. Like, sometimes we can have our cells can have bad understanding, so it needs a little help. So we teach it how to fight. So when we run into the coronavirus, we can actually fight it off. Or if we get it, our immune system is so conditioned that we don't get as sick. We won't get as sick as we normally would. And I don't know how to explain it no better than that because I learned it from little kids.
I think you did great. I think you gave a good rundown of it.
Right. I agree. Right. Just to add to what he just was saying when he mentioned the fact that when you can break things down to elementary is genius. I always tell people that. So the more you can solve the problem, especially the more you can break anything down, the more genius. And hey, that's always when solving problems in any kind of way. It's always I'm looking for a way to, in a way, break it down where I can educate people about what is this I'm doing. So hey, thank you, Doc.
No problem. Genius.
Yes, thank you.
Inventor too. Hey, I mentioned that because in my barber shop, I'm always holding those conversations with my outside of this line of work. I barber every single day of the week, so I hold those conversations and I know exactly what the community members are talking about, why they have it, why they got the vaccine, and why they have not gotten the vaccine. So I can actually that's boots on the ground. I'm boots on the ground here, but in my barbershop, it's almost like I'm counseling. They come to talk about different things in the barbershop, and hey, that topic always come up. It comes up, and that's my response with the fact that I work here. I always want to have a good educational response to the people who come sit in my chair. And I have it. Who would I be when I say get the vaccine and I don't have it? So I'm fully vaccinated. So but that's all I have.
And as you said, great. I'm happy because we need that direct conversation, education, like you did at the barbershop. That's how people really understand more of it. Having someone talk about it and bring it right up to you. So thank you for that. So I want to move on to our next question. what are different types of COVID vaccines that people can get to be vaccinated? What are the types?
I can take this one,
Go
Timeless.
ahead.
So the two big areas of vaccinations, and I think Eric, Dr. Griggs kind of went over the mRNA technology. So that's Pfizer and Moderna are the two mRNA vaccines. So those are the shots that are going to be the two doses. Um, Generally speaking, I know people might have been hearing about like boosters and third doses, but generally speaking, the initial of the mRNA is two, Pfizer and Moderna. And then the other type that you might be hearing about is called, it's more of a traditional vaccine that we're used to, which is the Johnson and Johnson, which is considered what they call like a vector vaccine. But pretty much that type of vaccine, the vector vaccine is an example is the Johnson and Johnson. So right now that's a one dose. So those are the two big types of COVID-19 vaccines. But I kind of wanted to piggyback on what Benjamin was kind of hearing and kind of his feedback he's getting from people. You know, the crazy thing, you know, we've been using vaccines, you know, for many, many, many years to eradicate some diseases, and then other diseases like the flu, you know, annually trying to help people not get sick and not have issues and become very ill. And I know, Benjamin, I don't know if you've been hearing this as well, you know, the mRNA vaccines are new, but actually they have been studied for many since the mid 90s. So it's something that was kind of discovered in the mid 90s as something that could be able to fight different types of viruses. But, you know, a lot of things come down to money and who gets money and things like that. But this is like pretty much COVID-19. The technology was ready to be laid out and develop those two vaccines that they were able to get out so quickly because it was kind of ready and set, ready to go. So those are the two big, you know, types of COVID vaccines right now.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that so much. All right. Moving to our next one. What are some symptoms to look out for once you're vaccinated? What are some typical things you might like, okay, this might happen to you?
So you mean once you have once you receive the shot, the
Yes.
vaccine?
The
Yeah. So I
first
want
shot.
to simplify. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. It's a good question. I'll start, and I'm sure Dr. Claire can take it from there. Um, Understand first the symptoms that you experiencing is your immune system actually working. It's not making you sick. It's practice. It's the immune system ramping up and learning how to process dealing with the spikes should it run into it. So you can get fever, you can get chills, you can get fatigue, you can get headache. Some people get insomnia, which means they can't sleep. And some people sleep a lot. You get really, really tired. I can say that. The chills or the chills, all of it can be treated like you would any other time. You can take ibuprofen, you can take a naproxen. Those are just some of the things that you can, and of course, the soreness at the injection site, but it's all normal and it goes away in 1 or 2 days.
All right. You don't want to add to that? Any more symptoms?
I just want to add something that I think is funny because my husband got the Johnson and Johnson vaccination back in, I guess, April, and you know, he was, you know, he's weak. He's a weakling, and was like, "Oh, I'm feeling, you know, I'm
Man, you
feeling
played that dude.
tired. I'm really
I'm
feeling."
telling.
You can tell him. I told him, "I'm feeling weak. I don't feel. Oh, I'm tired." But you know what I really let him know is that you know it's going to be over in a day. You know why you're tired. You know you got the vaccine yesterday. You know, and you might be tired for a day or two, but it'll pass. You know, versus actually getting you know the virus itself. And I think, you know, to me, just kind of letting people know that, you know, this is what you might experience. And like Dr. Grigg said, we have things that can help, you know, kind of help some of those side effects. But in general, you know, this is going to pass. And, you know, overall, you kind of know why you're having these things. You kind of have a heads up. And so that's my words of encouragement that, you know, generally all these things are very temporary, you know, a day or two, and it will pass for sure.
And the best thing you can do for yourself, you brought that up, is to rest. And it's hard in the midst of the pandemic right now for people to slow down and stop. A lot of people make the mistake of, I'm just going to go back to work and da 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 da. And eventually they start to feel really, really bad. Your body, your entire body is learning how to fight off something that we've never seen before prior to 2019, right? So your entire body's learning to fight. So your grandmother would tell you to, why don't you go lay down somewhere and stop trying to do too much. Team, do too much. Yeah, that's what we try to do. We try to do everything in the midst of our body trying to learn how to fight. You don't see a boxer trying to make a pizza when they're fighting in the ring, do you? You don't see them trying to do anything. When they go to the side in the middle of in between rounds, they sit down and they rest. The best thing you can do for yourself is listen to your body, drink a lot of water, eat if you have an appetite, take what you can for uncomfortable symptoms, and sleep. Sleep is your best friend.
Rest. See, that's one thing we don't talk about more in using medicine. I love that. Resting. And like you were saying, also the symptoms are temporary, so we can get through those things. All right. Thank y'all for sharing it. What's some misconceptions that y'all have heard that y'all want to go ahead and clear up? What's some things y'all hearing like, okay, this is inaccurate? Any
Pertaining to
misconceptions?
COVID or something?
COVID vaccines.
That the vaccine has a microchip in it.
Oh, okay.
I've heard that. So, you know, when I'm chatting with patients, that's something that I've heard, you know, a couple of times. And so, you know, the COVID-19 vaccine does not have a microchip. It was really developed to fight against COVID-19, you know, obviously not to track our movements. You know, like we discussed, we're trying to trigger the immune system to produce those antibodies to fight, you know, if we were exposed to COVID-19, to fight against it on our own. And so not that it has a microchip in it. So that is something I've ran across.
Thank you for saying it. No microchips at all. No. Any other misconceptions we want to discuss about the COVID vaccine or debunk?
The vaccine does not have the actual virus. It does not make you sick. The symptoms that we talked about are a natural part of your body learning how to fight. It does not make you sick. It does not have the virus in it.
And I hear that everywhere I go almost. You know, so I'm happy you said that one. Definitely, definitely.
Now,
And I
I've
just want to
heard
add
them
one other
all, but I
one.
want to hear other people.
Anyone else? Any more?
I just have one other one, kind of like what Dr. Griggs was mentioning about mRNA. The COVID-19 vaccine does not alter your DNA. So that was one that I've heard a couple times as well. So the COVID-19 vaccine does not alter your DNA in any way. It really is just that mRNA, that messenger that Dr. Griggs was mentioning, that is, you know, really, you know, processed by your body. It's not something that alters the DNA, your actual like makeup.
Yeah.
And to that end, it also will not interfere with your reproductive system. It doesn't make you sterile. It doesn't prevent you from having kids. It doesn't interfere. It does not integrate into, like she said, your DNA. None of that's true.
Yes, none of those are true. Thank y'all. Thank you for saying that. So we'll move on to our next section, healthier environments. In October, we celebrate a Global Hand Washing Day. It brings awareness to better, healthy environments and keeping our hands clean, our environments clean. What are some other healthy ways y'all recommend keeping our areas clean and keeping us more healthy? What's some more healthy tips? Anyone?
Hey,
Hand
I can
sanitizer? Go ahead. Go ahead.
rather than touch on the physical side of things, I think mentally we can kind of control our physical based on our thoughts, and I think when we can have that control, mental health can also trigger good health. So it's
Yes.
like how they call that, almost like a domino effect,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Good
starts
inner,
from
good
the mind.
outer.
Right, right.
Once your inside is great, your outside will be great as well. I like that.
Right.
All right, all right. Any other good tips to fight the virus?
So prior to COVID, I did this anyway. I am really big on sanitizing everything, not just my hands. I wash my hands all day anyway. Medical professional, it's a habit. But sanitizing hot spots at my house, doorknobs, faucets, light switches, things like that. I'm really big on not necessarily like bleaching everything down, but there are other ways to sanitize and other products to use that are healthy for your body as well as the environment that you can use that are alternates to using Clorox bleach. But yeah, I'm really big on sanitizing and wiping stuff down. I was that way before COVID, and like when COVID hit, my OCD went into overdrive. So being really big on that. My child is in daycare, so like as soon as he comes in, we're stripping out of our clothes. They go straight into the wash machine. So just finding more ways. I make sure that he washes his hands, that we wear our masks. That's a big part of it. Like last year, toward the end of last year, sometime there was a joke circulating on Facebook, and somebody had said it was like America how people hadn't been sick. And since COVID, and somebody made the comment that it's amazing what happens when you stay away from people and wash your hands.
Okay.
But we hadn't been like this was before, we could be back in large crowded areas, and we were still social distancing and people were remaining inside. And so I've been taking that character trait and doing the same thing with it. It's a little weird because my child doesn't understand the whole social distancing thing. He's 4, so to him it's like, I want to play, I want to go outside. He didn't understand why we were inside to begin with, and it was driving him crazy. He was going stir crazy. But just trying to get back to a small sense of normalcy with events and being around people. But my go-to is definitely sanitizing and wiping things down, and hand washing is really big, sanitizing is big, and wearing my mask.
I so agree. Sanitize the environment, sanitize your area. Like you were saying, taking out the clothes when you get home, protect your kiddo. Listen, yes. Any more tips you want to give us? Anyone? Some things that y'all might do?
So the thing that everyone wants to boost their immune system, and that's a big deal. So the best way to do that is, drum roll please, get checked, get fit, get moving. Go to your doctor. Eat healthy foods. Drink water. Sleep. Make sure you exercise. I said it again. You need to sleep. There are a lot of vitamin supplements that people like to take, and that's the best thing you can do for your vitamins is to chew and eat your vitamins. You get it in your foods. Portion sizes matter. Exercise is a key. However, you cannot outwork a bad diet. Healthy foods, healthy foods, healthy foods. The average person, when they exercise, burns no more at a max, maybe 600. And if you're going really hard, maybe 900 calories, but that's 3 slices of pizza. And I know very few people that limit themselves to 3 slices of pizza. Uh,
I
you
feel
are,
attacked. I feel attacked right now.
and of course, again, Jennifer said it, washing your hands, sanitizing. I don't know at what point in the pandemic we decided to say it was okay because this isn't passed by fomites, which means that the virus isn't passed by necessarily touching something and touching your face. It's nasty. Ain't no mama gonna tell no child not to wash their hands. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your face, brush your teeth, wash your hands. All of it works and it matters. But please wash your hands, get checked, go to the doctor, eat healthy foods, get some sleep, drink some water, and exercise.
We need it in a poster. All of that. We need it everywhere. Wash your hands. Yes.
Please wash your nasty hands.
Yes. Wash your hands. I totally agree. Totally agree. All right. So I believe in some herbal medicine and herbal things like teas and things like that. Y'all may disagree. That's why y'all here right now. What are some things if you are tested positive for the virus, people can use like certain teas, certain herbs at home? Does that stuff even work? Can I answer some of that?
So when I had COVID, it was really big for me because I remember being in high school and having pneumonia, and my doctors thinking it was possibly a droplet infection because of my immune system. And I remember being on my couch in my living room feeling like somebody had dropped a cedar block in my chest. And I just kept saying, God, I can't die on this couch. Like my toddler and my significant other was on the other side of the house in their room, like being away from me. And I was like by myself. And I just remember being like, I have to get up off this couch. And I made it a point. I was really weak, but I went and got tested, and then I tested positive, and I made it a point to do everything possible to boost my immune system. And I moved. I rode my bike 5 miles every day, multiple times a day, because I was like, I gotta sweat, I gotta work my lungs. I refused to just let the virus take me down. Like I was not gonna be that person that was just wallowing in my misery. I was like, I gotta move. I remember doing a lot of vitamin C, like the emergency packets. I was mixing it with Tropicana 50 because the regular Tropicana has so much sugar. And so my nurse practitioner was like, if you're gonna mix it with something, do the Tropicana 50 because the sugar can interfere with the absorption of the vitamin C. And so I upped my intake of vitamin C along with vitamin D, and I did a lot of water intake, a lot of vitamin C, and a lot of working out, and it made a huge difference. Like the way I felt on day 1 versus day 5 was completely different. It made a very big difference for me to get up and move. I did do some green tea, but I think the biggest part was moving and being hydrated and helping my immune system.
So yes for vitamin C. So everyone, vitamin C and working, move around, be active. All right. Anything else?
I have to say, be as active as your body will allow you. COVID-19 affects everyone differently. To be quite honest, I have a friend that passed away. He was a dear friend. He preached a sermon on Sunday, was feeling a little bit bad, ended up going to the hospital on Wednesday, and by Thursday, he was gone. It affects everyone differently. Jennifer, I don't know, but if you've been vaccinated, it's going to treat you a lot differently than it.
I am. I'm fully vaccinated with my booster. Yes.
Yeah. So having been, wow, so you're really protected. You've had it. You got the vaccine and the booster. Yeah, I applaud that. So it affects everyone differently. The most important thing is to listen to your body. Being infected with COVID can make a lot of people really sick to the point that they can't breathe and they can't move. And I will say this, if you are turn up COVID positive and you get to the point where you get, that we use this term, and that's the whole thing throughout this. Benjamin brought it up earlier, the messaging, it's it is our fault, but not our fault because we assume people know what we're talking about. People tell you short of breath. Unless you've ever had asthma or pneumonia, like Jennifer talks about, you really don't know what that means. If all of a sudden you get winded when you're trying to walk from here to the bathroom and you don't normally have that problem, or you get winded when you're going up steps, there might be something going on, particularly if you have COVID, because the entryway into your body is in the lungs. And then it turns your lung cells against it. It damages the cells to create fluid. And as it damages the cells to create fluid, they damage most cells to create more fluid. And it just turns into this cycle, which is why one of the things I do ask that people do is they cough drops. Coughing is not your friend. Coughing causes more damage. And that damage, remember, inflammation is part of the immune response. So inflammation it triggers the damage to be fixed. And in order for that, there needs to be more fluid. So it's just perpetuating cycle that can lead to what Jennifer had as a pneumonia. Now, because she felt well, she did her own, it's called in the hospital, they call it incentive spirometry. Now, in real terms, in real people terms, that's the little thing you get after surgery when you're sitting there, it's got a ping pong ball in it. And
okay.
And what it does is it helps pop the balloons back open at the end of your breathing tree. They're called alveoli, but the balloons that act where you actually breathe, where the blood and the oxygen exchange, it helps. You can hear it pop, 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 pop and open, because after you lay there, they close. It's like a balloon. If you just leave a balloon with no air going in it, it'll get flat. Now, if it's got fluid in it, because it's got that fluid in it, it gets harder to open because the water sticks to itself. So if you're able to get up and move, you ever been in a hospital before? First thing they do is they get you up out of bed and get you walking and moving around. So listen to your body. I do advise a cough drop to try to prevent coughing if you get COVID. The biggest thing, though, is rest, rest, rest. They got these different phases of sleep, and everybody talks about REM sleep, that deep sleep, where you that good sleep that you get. Yeah, there's a hormone called growth hormone that goes around the body and starts to help repair things as we sleep, because we do a lot of damage while we awake. And it's supposed to be that we don't sleep enough. But listen to your body. The moment you feel you're able to get up and exercise and move or just go around, then do it. But if you get short of breath to the point where it's hard to talk or it's hard to breathe, then you should go to the hospital. And you should first, if you get diagnosed, by a pulse oximeter. And what that is, that's a little finger thing that you put on the tip of your finger. It monitors the amount of oxygen in your blood. You want that number to be above 94. If it starts to fall, and if it falls a lot, go to the hospital. You want to get the pulse ox. You want to get a thermometer to monitor your temperature. Eat your mama's and your grandmama's soup, because it's good for you anyway. Drink a lot of water and get some sleep.
Yes.
May I add something?
Please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Jen. I am so sorry. I was trying to speak. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so for me, I was given, when I had COVID, I was, like he said, like a lot of soup, like chicken bone soup. And I was given it was like, they had put it in a container. It was like lime and orange juice, like pulp, and also like some of the actual peel. And they like mashed up, they put garlic in it, like raw garlic and ginger. And so what I did was, and they put sugar in it. So I was able to make it into like a lemonade solution if I poured hot water with it, and it made my throat feel better. And it helped clear my sinuses a little bit, instead of the chicken soup. So it was basically kind of like a homemade lemonade / kind of like an herbal tea situation. And so that was kind of helping, like whenever the Dr. Eric was talking about how you need to be able to eat your fruits and eat your vegetables, because those are the main source of your vitamins. That's what I was doing, that, and also taking like vitamin C supplements and stuff like that, just to help boost my immune system a little bit more. And also wanted to go back to what you were saying about COVID and stuff, about the vaccination and how people feel about it.
Yeah.
A lot of misconception about it is that it actually kills you. Because like we have had people in our family that had taken COVID vaccine, and like the first week they weren't feeling good, and then the second time they took the vaccination, they had already had heart problems, but they had passed away. And so it made my husband like weary of trying to take the vaccination, because he has like some problems too, like health conditions, and he doesn't like needles to begin with either. He's a big baby on it, even though he has tattoos all over his body.
Yeah, I was there. Y'all killing them. They're not here. Y'all killing them today.
I don't know. And so like I want him to take the vaccination, but like everyone else has said, like we don't know. Like I'm not that familiar with it to like, hey, you should go get your booster. You should go get a shot, like to promote it, because like from my experience, my end, it wasn't always like I didn't feel secure about telling people about the vaccination, even though I have both got my vaccinations done. I got my booster and I got my flu shot, but I'm just not that like completely comfortable yet with like be like, hey, you need to go get your booster shot. Like my little sister, she's only 13, and they're like talking about how she may need to get her COVID shot, but like she's scared because she's like, I don't know anybody my age who has gotten the shot, so she's not comfortable, and I don't want to be telling her you need to go take it, and I don't want to enforce that on people, to be honest. That's just how I feel. I know it's probably opposite from what y'all think, but
you hit a real important thing, because a lot of people who may have had it don't always want to promote it and say you should get it, right? They don't always know that. And like you're saying, We focus on young folks here at Youth Oasis. A lot of young folks also have that same question. We don't trust it, we don't know it. And they might have a parent or a school teacher that may have it. So you hit on a really important point. Yeah. Anybody else want to add to that?
Well, that's what
Dr.
this
Eric, I have
moment.
a question.
Oh, go ahead.
What advice do you have on, well, two things actually. What advice do you have on fighting fatigue? Because that was something that was really major. And I think this year I just got my sleep cycle back. It was terrible.
Mm.
Like the fighting the fatigue was, I know you said get rest. It was like utterly impossible. Either you slept all day because you just were over it on the bad days where I couldn't, like it took me a little minute to get myself together to get out the bed to start moving. Or when it was time to go to sleep, I was up looking like, what just happened? Like the melatonin wasn't even helping. Okay, I felt like a zombie. Um,
Mm.
like I said, I think I just got my sleep cycle back. I was fighting it months way after I had recovered from COVID. That's number one, and number two is can you and Miss Claire, Dr. Claire, I'm sorry, speak on the underlying health conditions that are also playing a role in um, people's health declining as far as being able to, when they are diagnosed with COVID. I think that's the part that as humans we're forgetting. It's not just like COVID is killing everybody, but people are dying that also have underlying health conditions, and that's the part that I think that everybody is forgetting about.
So I think that's an excellent question, and I'm going to start with number one. And Dr. Claire, you can chime in, but I'm going to let you lead on two. Number one, you're asking about fatigue. Now, I'm going to tell you like your grandmother. You need to go lay down, go lay down, go lay down. Your body is saying that I'm
I
tired.
did.
I'm tired. You need to go lay down. You go in there and lay down. If you sleep all day, you obviously needed that rest and that sleep. The reason that you're feeling fatigued is because you're fighting naturally what your body's telling you to do. Y'all have seen it. You didn't see the reel, the tick that go lay down. You didn't see the remix with the piano, the whole nine. That's one of my favorite songs. I'm about to go lay down. Yeah, go
Mine
lay
too.
down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Sleep is important. Again, growth hormone is one of the hormones that comes out to fix things as your body needs to repair. If you've had COVID, your body has been through a fight. Again, going to social media, if you've seen a picture of that rooster or that chicken with all the feathers look like this, it's like, yeah, look like I've been through something, like I'm okay. Yeah, that's what your immune system has been through. Every system, every cell in your body has fought something that literally this virus is trying to kill us. It's trying to take over. It's trying to win. Your body, if it was your child, you have a 4-year-old, you would say, go lay down, go lay down. So that's my take on that one. Dr. Claire.
So I can follow up that. Besides, we need to all go lay down. I love it. I probably need to do that too. But kind of addressing, Jennifer, what you were mentioning about the groups of people that respond more profoundly to COVID. So generally, what we know is that there's a lot of things, a lot of different disease states and different diseases that people have that do weaken the immune system. So in a sense, you might not think about it weakening the immune system, but just to kind of list or kind of discuss a couple. So patients that have chronic kidney disease, and they have their kidneys aren't working as well, they're not able to process things as well, they might be on dialysis. Those are actually patients that have weaker immune systems and can respond to COVID in a worse way. So similar with older patients. So as you get older, your immune system doesn't respond as well to really viruses, any sort of illness, because the immune system isn't as strong. So that's kind of the underlying thoughts on why some people, don't recover as well. So kind of looking at like the big ones: chronic kidney disease, diabetes, heart conditions, patients that have HIV. overall people that have weakened immune systems. I want to add in, kind of patients that are on and people that are on medications that weaken the immune system. All of those things can cause the body to not be able to fight it off as well. And then, something that they do find, and we know patients that are overweight, that can also affect how the body can fight off these illnesses. So those are some kind of big buckets of patients and kind of the reasoning behind it. And that's why it's important, even for these patients, to do everything that we can to strengthen the immune system. And that's really by, like we've discussed, the healthy eating, exercising, as much as you are able to, even, walking and kind of becoming active. And then also making sure not to plug this, but, being compliant and also, making sure you're taking your medicine and going to the doctor regularly. I think that was something that I know a lot of patients were affected by, being out of routine during the pandemic, not being able to see the doctor regularly. They might have fallen behind on some medicine refills, things like that, just kind of focusing on, the basics.
So to hey, buddy.
Hey.
So to piggyback on that, and I didn't mean to be a corny joke, but he's really cute on your piggyback over there. The thing is, there's a term that was used. If you remember, General Colin Powell passed away, and he had his shot. We're not sure if he had a booster, but he had a condition of cancer, multiple myeloma. It's a condition of cancer of the white blood cells, of the immune system cells. So he was severely immune compromised. His immune system wasn't able to fight the way it normally would, which is why we need people who have a compromised immune systems know it. And they have doctors that tell them that. And they know when they would need a booster to get their level of protection. Like, say, if the normal level of protection is here, that first 2 shot might only get them to here because they were starting from the bottom, right? Started from the bottom, you give them the booster, now they're here. And I did that on purpose, started from the bottom, now we're here, right? That's the purpose of the boosters. If you have a compromised immune system, the best thing to do is ask your doctor. And then you can ask, how does it compromise my immune system? Anything that triggers your body to have inflammation in it. Remember, inflammation is part of the immune response, right? Right? So if I'm already using this hammer and it's part of my tool bag to fight, and somebody comes to fight me and I already have the hammer, I don't have it to use in the fight. Does that make sense? So I might need a little boost. I might need an extra hammer so I can use my foot or something to help fight. But that's the whole point of it. Talk to your doctor. How does diabetes make me immune compromised? How does being obese? How does hypertension? If you have if I have asthma, how does this affect? Have those candid, frank talks, and most importantly, now is the time for you to be the expert. And for those that have had COVID on this call, I always yield when they want to talk to COVID experts, because prior to 2019, there was no COVID experts. COVID experts, you are the expert on you. If you've had COVID-19, you know what worked, you know what didn't work, you know what they said and what you did that worked. Now, if you want to fact check, there's a way to make sure it lines and make sure whatever made you feel better was based on that and not something else. I beat myself in the head until I fell asleep, and I slept for 20 hours and I felt better. It wasn't because I beat myself in the head. It's because I went, go lay down, go lay down. That make sense?
Yes. I want to say thank y'all for that. Y'all really gave us more information that we really needed, really needed. So I'm going to move on to part 3 of the conversation. All right, communities, people of color and LGBTQ and queer communities. All right. Here at Youth Oasis, we serve LGBTQ youth. Oftentimes, especially in rural and small towns, queer communities don't feel comfortable with their health providers. What are some tips and advice you can give health providers to be more inclusive and more affirming to queer communities?
I think they need to be more educated on how to approach people like in the LGBT communities, because sometimes in some instances they feel okay, just hear me out. Some people just don't know, like, educated on like the pronouns, like how to be called, like how to call their people, and like I know something happened to them specifically, and they were just looking at them like, there's a trans woman, like who are you, like what are you doing? They were like being stared at, and it just made them feel very uncomfortable too, where they didn't want to get to the point of care that they needed. And I don't mean like doctors, I just mean people in the office in general. Not, that's what I meant to say. I don't know if I came off kind of aggressive, I apologize about that.
No,
I saw Dr. Eric's face, you're like, excuse me.
I was trying to figure out, was it SpongeBob? I heard the music.
Yes, we were laughing at Isaiah in the
I'm
background.
trying to multitask, y'all. I apologize.
No, you're good. But you said you're not talking to doctors. I am talking to doctors. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and understand why you went into the profession of healthcare. Everyone deserves quality, top-notch healthcare. This is not a profession of judging. Our bodies are the same. We have the same issues, no matter what color, race, hue, gender. Doesn't matter. If someone comes to you for help, you need to help them objectively. And if not, you need to look yourself in the mirror. You need to do some DEI, diversity and equity training. And that doctor, if you have that experience with that healthcare provider, you need to report it. And find another doctor. If you don't like your doctor, get another one. But make sure that you report that you were treated inequitably, because health is a human right. And I've been joking and singing a lot, but I'm very, very passionate and serious about that. I mean, that when you can't talk to the doctor, actually you can. You talk to me, you can talk to them. You can sing to them. That's all right, whatever you want, but you are the one in charge. You are the expert and the CEO on ULLC. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. And health is a human right. I'm happy you said that.
Yes.
Knowledge is, even like you were saying earlier, listening to your body, it's educating yourself about holistically about yourself. Is equivalent to me. And like you say, ULLC, knowledge yourself. I mean, hey, that's important, right? You the CEO of you, so you need to know every single thing about it. And hey, not only do it comes from us, you get education from other people. It's people like you and Dr. Claire and everyone. Hey, we can be educated by anyone, and listening and knowing when something is new and processing and holding on to it is just as valuable. That's all.
There's no such thing as a bad question. Keep asking questions. See that baby sitting on Arena's lap? If he has a question, I guarantee you, I don't know. Do you understand? No. Do you know? Why not? I don't know. And you have to keep explaining. The CEO needs to know everything that's going on in the operation, right? So keep asking questions. Demand to ask questions, and if not, then say, where can I find the information, and hold your healthcare provider accountable for taking care of you.
Hey, Doc, even you ask questions, right? Even genius ask questions.
I ain't no genius, but I sure do. I started asking questions back when I had hair.
Right. All genius even ask questions.
Yep.
Yes. And I just want to make sure that we also understand, like you said before, queer communities in rural places definitely need health providers that are equitable and understanding and making a safe space for them to have the best health. So yeah, thank you for saying that.
And if you don't feel comfortable, find an advocate, someone that will speak for you. Rural communities can be kind of cruel. So fine, that's why we have community health workers. You have advocates that can speak with authority on your behalf. We got your back now. Got your back.
Yes. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for that. We'll move on to the next one. All right. So many people of color living in low-income areas have many barriers to take care. Many can't have access to transportation, are juggling multiple jobs, and leads to missing appointments. Some are disconnected with their providers who are not culturally competent to their needs. Are there some barriers, or many health providers, are they aware of the barriers that many people may have, in your opinion, as health providers?
Dr. Clay, I've been talking a lot. I haven't answered, but I'm gonna sit over here and watch you try to go from here.
So I think that honestly, during COVID-19, a positive thing that came from it was the ability to do um, like televisits, a lot more ability to do visits on the computer and things that really, to me, helped some patients that really needed that flexibility, because I feel like a lot of times, like I have a lot of patients that might work two jobs and they don't have time to go spend half a day in an office waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
And those virtual visits gave a lot of people flexibility to see their providers from home, or even from their car on their smartphone, to be able to get that service that they really needed. And so that was a piece of feedback I've gotten from a lot of patients. And then with that being said, I can speak for Oshner Medical Center with some of the training and getting recruiting providers that are more educated about the needs of different communities and being able to meet the needs of those communities by really recruiting people that foster that environment. So I think those are some things that I've noticed. And then I just wanted to, also say that especially with COVID-19 vaccination, it is available at local pharmacies that have flexible hours. And I think with having that opportunity along with like a lot of the mass vaccinations, that has really, helped patients and help everyone just kind of get the care they need, but on their terms.
To just to follow that, I think it's something that we need to all educate ourselves on. COVID-19 forced the evolution of a lot of things. We got pushed to the next step, that next level, right? With the vaccines, it was amazing. They didn't skip any steps. They came up with something. This time last year, we didn't have a vaccine, and now you got people picking and choosing. They want the lemon flavor with the strawberry, with the red, and the gold. It's amazing, right? But what also happened is we got pushed to the next phase. The fact that we're able to be in all these different cities, we wouldn't have been doing this 2 years ago, meeting in StreamYard and hosting a panel. So take advantage of that telemed. At Access Health, we do telemedicine as well. Oshner does telemedicine. Look into it. And I'm going to tell you what, the healthcare providers are telling me they love it because they can actually see, now understand that they're going to see you in your environment. Now, if you talk about you eating healthy and you got a big red cold drink behind you and a 2-piece spicy white with fries, sitting in a thing, Doc, what do you eat? I ate a salad, and they can see it. She can see anything you got going on now. Telemedicine is an amazing option.
Yes, telehealth. We definitely need it. Definitely need it. All right. Anybody want to speak on the barriers that y'all understand that sometimes your clients might have that you have to adjust to or anything?
Timeless, there are so many barriers, honey.
So many.
You'll be here all day. There are so many barriers. And for our community members, we try to be the advocates to their providers. And we are part of the patient's care plan. So the providers that we have relationships with and have built great rapport with, they work us into our community members' care plan. And so if that means that we have to assist with administering medication for them, then that's what it is. If that is going to be how they get their medicine, and the providers can ensure that because of us that the medicine they will adhere to their plans, then that's what it is. So we try to be the advocate and help to overcome whatever barriers that they do have. But there are lots of barriers that, providers might not think about. Who wants to take a pill if they have nowhere to sleep? Or they don't even know where their next meal is going to come from if they have to take their medication with a meal that has to be of a certain amount of calories. That's the last thing that a community member is going to think about. Like, why would I take my medicine if I got to take it with a meal and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to have a meal, let alone be able to think about taking this pill that I need for my health, but you got to choose between the two. Do you get groceries or do you get gas? Do you get a meal or do you, get whatever your vice is? It's like it's a lot of things, and it would be a lot better to navigate if providers could be more open minded to the things that their clients and patients need.
Thank you for that, Ms. Jennifer. Like you hit on so many things and just being adjustable to your clients' needs, understanding those barriers. Thank you for saying that. All right, move on to our next question. All right. So this is a tough one. I want to see what y'all think about this one. Many people are fearful or don't trust the vaccine. There's been a long history of Black people being wrongfully done during medical case studies and procedures, especially with the well known historical Tuskegee experiment and the recent recall on the Johnson vaccine that affected many people of color. What are your thoughts on the Black communities being fearful or not trusting general medicine? Let's talk about it. This hitting home for a lot of people who are probably watching.
Hey, you covered it when you made mention of when you made mention of the historical experiences with vaccinations and medical teams coming in to vaccinate communities of color. The bad experiences, not hey, even beyond that, you can go even further back, and up until now, Johnson and Johnson. Not just that, the foods, the drinking water. We look at what took place in Michigan. So not
Yes.
just food, drinking water, a whole host of things creates this mistrust, and hey, it just opens up the door for just to say, hey, no, and hey, you that kind of covers. You mentioned it, and that you answered the question. So that's all I had. The historical up until Johnson and Johnson. That sums it up. Why people feel the way they feel, and it's gonna take. I mean, education is gonna take. Hey, it's gonna take a lot, and that's all I have. I just want to be the one, someone to kind of enlighten and touch on it.
Thank you
So,
for that, Benjamin.
so just quick to follow up with that, that's a question that I get a lot, and I'll be succinct and brief about it. Benjamin hit it on the head. He talked about genius. There it is. Thank you, genius. There's a lot. I'm surrounded by genius on this panel.
I said that because I invent. I got a bunch of inventions. That's why I said.
Um, we do need to educate ourselves on the history. First of all, we have to have the conversation about if you want to build trust, you got to talk about the elephant in the room. Did it happen? Yes, it did. But understand what happened. The Tuskegee experiment is one that we all know about. That's our point of reference. But understand about that. They did not go around sticking people with needles and giving them syphilis. It doesn't work that way. What happened is the doctors, including some of the Black doctors, got together and they conspired. They said that these people were coming in to be treated. They were getting treated for syphilis, and they didn't treat them for decades. And it was all in the healthcare community. These people, I mean, they were sick and they were passing it along. And I mean, it was unjust and it was not right. And it was without their permission. They thought they were getting treated and they did not for decades, but they weren't. Syphilis doesn't work the way you can inject it in someone. Now, because of that injustice, and like we can talk about Henrietta Lacks, with a lot of people don't know who she is, but they took her. That's what the whole system of blood categorizing is, and they didn't do nothing for her. They did it without telling her. The system has changed now. The whole system of clinical trials, they have a thing called the IRB, Institutional Review Boards. There's a lot of checks and balances that we saw right in front of us over the last 20 months that have to take place before we can do anything. But the best thing is to have robust conversations for people that ain't scared to talk about it. I ain't scared. I sang, I talk. We can play spades, whatever you want to do. But I will sit down with you to explain as best I can, acknowledging sometimes, hey, man, that was messed up. I agree. But there's things in place, and there are people and processes in place to protect us. And make sure you educate yourself before you make any decision.
Yes, yes. Well, I want to say thank y'all for saying all those great things today. I'm gonna give this to a close. We might even need to do a part two to have more conversations about this. We got more to talk about. All right. So before we close, I just want to give a couple of thanks to a lot of people who did this and make this possible. First, I want to say thank you to the amazing health professionals that came out today, giving us great information and resources to be here today. I thank y'all for being here today. All right. And check those different organizations out. We'll talk about that as well. Also, thanks to Centerlink for giving us opportunity to have this important conversation across the nation. Because of them, we're here today to have this conversation. So thank you, Centerlink. And thanks to Martine at TransFamily Support Services that working behind the scenes, giving us technical assistance, who always been a true support in an entire project that we work on. All right. And always thanks for all the viewers for watching. Without y'all, this won't be able to happen. I want to say have a great day and be blessed.